We're back. I want to reintroduce Mr. Neal Whittington. He will be my intrepid co-host for the show. And I wanted to let him tell you a little bit about his background. And so take it away, Neal.
Wayne, I appreciate it. Guys, I'm a North Carolina native, residing in Wilmington now, from Benson, North Carolina originally, up between here and Raleigh. And I'm just honored that Wayne invited me on to do this show with him. So we'll be with you once a week, every Friday at this time. So just really excited about that. A little bit about me. I, for about 13 years now, been in sales and marketing, mostly business to business. A lot of what Wayne was talking about earlier in the news section, especially about the real estate and mortgages and everything, sort of speaks to me a lot because I've also been a part-time real estate investor for about the last 5 or 6 years. With that said, I'm going to move into interviewing Mr. Wayne Isaksen today. Normally during this part of the show, we will have a guest besides Wayne here, but we just wanted to learn a little bit about the host of the show moving forward. So with that said, I'm going to run into a few questions here, Wayne, to find out a little bit more about you and exactly what you got going on. I know you've got a tremendous amount of experience, pretty varied background, so I'm going to jump right into these questions. How did you get involved with mortgage acceleration?
Well, it's been a long road. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. And my latest gig was, for 25 years up in New York City, I ran a commercial interior landscaping and holiday decorating company. About 6 years ago, in 2005, I decided I've had enough with the 9/11 thing in the city, and business was getting tight. I saw the writing on the wall, so I decided that I was going to sell the business. It was the right time to do so, and relocate my family down here to beautiful Wilmington, North Carolina, and Topsail Island. I came down here and I became a licensed loan officer, right at the height of the mania of the real estate market. But what I had found over the next couple of years is that I was just getting people deeper and deeper into debt by refinancing their houses. Everybody took their house as a ATM machine.
Yep.
And with the increased liquidity in the house, they just keep pulling money out. And I saw that was just not going to work. I really couldn't do that anymore. So I decided to open up another business, mortgage acceleration. And it's almost the polar opposite of giving people money. Now I'm giving people money because they're able to pay down their house in many, many fewer years than they normally would. And that would save them tens and perhaps hundreds of thousands of dollars on interest payments. This program, and there's a lot of them out there, you should look into it, will probably cut your payment term by a third. And like I say, it'll bring the effective interest rate on any type of mortgage down to about 2%. You should really do your homework and look at all the available programs out there, because the prices vary anywhere from a couple of $100 to a couple of $1,000. I've seen some as high as $5,000. You really don't need to spend that much money.
Gotcha.
But the software programs are quite powerful, and they use algorithms, and they walk you through it. Anybody that makes a little bit more money than they spend can really pay down their house in a short amount of time.
Well, that sort of moves in, I think, to my next question, is really who qualifies for this type of program, because there's so many people out there that I've talked to, and you hear it on the news obviously all the time, that most Americans' credit right now is really just in the toilet.
Absolutely. It's at the lowest level that it ever was, actually. To qualify for a mortgage acceleration program, there's really only one qualification. It doesn't need credit scores, but it does need you to make more money than you are spending at the moment. So you really need to budget yourself, and you have to know what your monthly expenses are in order to make it work.
So are we talking about $500 more, or $50 more, or $5 more? Or?
It could be as little as, let's say, realistically, $50 more.
Okay.
Just with that $50, it can do unbelievable things in paying down your debt.
Okay.
Now, a good acceleration program will pay off a first mortgage and even a second mortgage, and it will also take care of your consumer debts, such as car payments, credit cards, store cards, furniture cards, anything like that.
Okay.
And it will put you on a system to pay it off quickly.
Okay, fantastic. So how about, I know I've had this question thrown up before, is there a wealth building component to the type of program you're talking about?
Good question. As well as paying off your debt in record time, what this program will do, it has a component in there where as you pay off your debt and you free up a little bit more of your monthly money, you can put some money into a wealth building program. Perhaps my favorite in the thing, it's just my favorite, and it's not meant to be any kind of financial advice. I personally like whole life insurance. It becomes a non-taxable component, and it builds up an incredible amount of compound interest. Right. And over the course of your 30-year mortgage on this program, if you continue paying into the wealth building program as well as paying off the mortgage, you can have a tidy sum of money for retirement.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, because I know, again, a bunch of Americans, tons of Americans are out there right now. Are there any type of programs that you're aware of for people that cannot pay their mortgage? You know, you sounds like you hear so many people walking away from homes left and right, letting the banks take them back over. You got a ton of short sales going on right now. All types of just crazy things are happening in the real estate market right now. So what if someone, unemployed, whatever their hardship may be, they can't pay their mortgage?
Good question, because that's what's exactly going on out there. And that's what really led me to get into some default servicing. I work with a couple of different companies now, and we address that very issue. And there are things that people can do that can't pay their mortgage. Loan modifications have become quite popular out there, and unfortunately they've gotten a bit of a black eye recently because some unscrupulous companies have come out and charged big upfront fees in order to get started on that, and it turned out that they never even processed the paperwork.
Right.
So I must tell you that the first thing you look for, the red flag, is do not pay a loan modification company any upfront fees. Let them work for you, let them do something for you before, and get a guarantee from the bank that the modification in fact is approved.
Right. Before
you pay them money. As a matter of fact, I've looked at some software programs, loan modification software programs, that are super powerful. Are you familiar with TurboTax?
Absolutely.
Well, TurboTax really filled a big void in the taxing department, and they do an excellent job. So the common person can go buy a TurboTax package for a couple of bucks and do a great job on their taxes. These loan modification companies do the same thing. You can take that, they will package up a beautiful package that is ready to submit to the bank with the precise numbers that you need to be hitting with them in order for them to consider you. And most of them throw in a forensic loan audit.
Oh, wow.
Which means that's a 30-page court-ready document that is prepared by lawyers that you will also submit to the bank, showing them all the bad things actually that happened in your closing papers.
Right.
As far as RESPA or TILA or any of the guidelines that they were supposed to follow when they didn't.
So maybe some things that you signed but you were not fully explained, would that?
Absolutely. They just tell you to sign on the dotted line. They changed income on people in order to make the loan work, which is illegal. So that becomes a very big part of the loan modification, and a very big part of having the bank say, "Wow, we screwed this thing up pretty
Right.
bad. So why not? Let's give this guy a modification
Yeah.
and get this thing off our books, so there's no further legal action."
Gotcha. Next question. If, we talked a little bit about people that really can't pay their mortgage. What about someone who's just underwater? Maybe they have a $200,000 mortgage and their house is worth, what, 125, 150-ish maybe. What type of programs or options, would be there for that type of person right now?
Well, because that is so common right now, and people can't refinance or anything because their credit stinks, there's a new program out there called Principal Reduction Program.
Okay.
Now, what that does is the homeowner will get an appraisal on their home, and you can get an easy appraisal on your home just by going to a site called eappraisal.com. You punch in your address and your zip code, and this program will give you an idea of what your home is worth. It's pretty good, and it doesn't cost anything. A lot of people are finding that they're $50,000, $100,000. Their home is worth $50,000 or $100,000 less than the mortgage they're paying. So this company will come along, and they will help you find an investor that will purchase your house at the current market rate.
Okay.
Which is pretty amazing. I've just had somebody that had a $150,000 payment on their home, and their appraised value is now just $104,000. So this company goes and bundles up a bunch of people into a package,
Right.
and then approaches the bank with all these loans and says, "Look, we want to buy this whole set of loans off of you." And what happens is the bank is ready to do it because it takes non-performing loans off the books. And the government, of course, comes in and backs up the banks by giving them the difference.
Right.
God forbid a big bank should ever lose any money. It's just supposedly the little guy.
Yeah.
So once that is done, and this could take anywhere from a month to 8 months.
Right.
Because if you're at the beginning of that bundle or at the end of the bundle, makes a difference in the time. But once that's all said and done, what they will do, and this could be for any kind of a loan too. It could be a interest only. It could be a variable rate mortgage, a negative AM, any of those. They don't care about that. What they're going to do is reissue a new mortgage at the market value, let's say $104,000 on the example I gave you, and charge you prime rate, which is now 3.25%,
Okay.
plus 3 points. So you're going to end up with a 6.25% fixed rate loan for 30 years, and the payments are going to reflect the $104,000. So on that example I gave you, that is going to save the homeowner about $500 a month on
Wow.
their mortgage. Now,
That's
it's a great
significant.
thing to do because there are short sales and everything, but you have to get out of your house during them.
Right.
This is for a person that still wants to stay in their house.
Okay.
And get back on track and get their credit in order.
That's
Pretty
awesome.
nice.
That
yeah.
sounds like an awesome program. Wayne, we're almost out of time with our questions here. What I wanted to do is, lastly, we've talked about a bunch of different programs, a lot of different information. How would someone proceed if they want to learn more about this? Would they call their mortgage broker? Would they go to their bank? What would they do?
Well, I found that getting online will really get you all the information you want.
Okay.
You can always check in with my blog site, wayneisaksen.com.
Okay.
And you can always ask questions on that if you have any. There's a lot of information on that. But I would say just search around. I mean, you could talk to a mortgage broker or a realtor. They're all very familiar with all the programs out there now. And of course, me or Neal would be happy to answer any of the questions if you want to go right through the blog site.
Okay. Okay. Well, Wayne, I appreciate it. I always enjoy talking to you because you don't always paint the rosy picture that a lot of people want to hear. You tell people the truth. So, guys, we're going to go to break. Wayne's going to be back here in just a few minutes with his closing comments, and join us next week at the same time. And stay tuned here in just a few minutes for Wayne's closing comments. Thanks.